Okay, good evening. It's Friday, and that means it's SaaS Friday. Not great just because it's Friday, but great because we're SaaS owners, and we're taking Friday out to celebrate that because it's the number one business model in my mind. So, tonight, another mind-bending show, I hope. Last week was probably the definitive show. Let me just check that we're going out because that always makes me happy. I've got it up. Not great just because it's Friday. Yeah. But great. There we go. Okay, I'll change the screen in a minute because that will make me even happier. Right, so let's change the screen. There we go. Let's resize the screen because I never have that ready, of course, because I'm a professional. And let's just make that a bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so another mind-bending show. So last week's show was really the ultimate in SaaS insight, to be honest. And if you missed it, you should go to the paid vault and make sure you work it out. Let's wait for that picture to change, and then I'll be super happy. There we go. Okay. So, to be honest, it's hard to top that because that was incredible. Because it's kind of it's not the secret sauce, but it's the missing key. It's the I'm sure there's some Raiders of the Lost Ark phrase that I could use if I knew any. But it's the it's pretty mistake that was. It's the gel of the whole thing. So how do I top that? Well, that's the thing. That's what gives it the power. That's how you succeed. Okay, but what do you succeed with? So today we're talking about the machine, because basically, even though your SaaS is a organically grown baby, it's your little baby. You gave birth to it. You pulled it out of the funnel. We won't go too far down those metaphors. And it's there and it's beautiful and you love it. But it's got to grow up to be big and strong and independent and to carry on when you've gone, really. Not to be morbid about it. It wants to have a happy and enjoyable life. So, to do that, we have to get it to grow up and to turn it into this, not just a machine, but a breathing machine. Okay, but nonetheless, a machine. And I know you probably don't think at the moment that your little baby, your little organic baby is a machine, but it is, or it needs to be if it's going to survive. So, this is why we all have headaches. Not just the fact that I'm showing you a load of circles that don't mean anything to you, but the fact that really a SaaS, and this breathing machine is actually all of these circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All these 10 circles, and they're all deep, topics on their own, which could take months, if not years, if not a lifetime, to understand the finesse of each one. But there is one commonality to all of them that I realised tonight, which is that basically it's all yin and yang. It's all yin and yang. So whatever you think on one hand, there's something else on the other hand that either affects it or influences it, or that kind of thing. So it's never really straightforward because it's always yin and yang. You have to find that sweet spot. The more you go towards yin, something is going wrong. The more you go back towards yang, the more something else goes wrong. So there's always going to be this kind of sweet spot, balance point in the middle, where the yin and the yang are working together to create something fantastic. So I know I've completely lost you now. But, for instance, here's a yin and a yang, an example. So on one hand, we have attrition, sorry, which means that people join your SaaS, they're a subscribing member, and at some point they may leave. That's attrition. Now, that could be, in decades, or it could be in minutes. Hopefully decades, but anyway. And it could well be, that you have a kind of a problem point. Say that they, most of them leave at 3 months, or most of them leave at 5 months, or most of them leave at 8 months. And if you could only, stop that happening, then life would be a whole lot easier. And obviously there are things that are going on and that you can improve and blah de blah de blah, headache, all these circles, to make that better. And maybe you could move that from 3 or 5 or 8 months to 36 months. In which case you'd be making, a shed load more money and life would be a lot easier. But that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Certainly not easy for me to guess at, having I've never spoken to you about your SaaS and I've no idea what your, there's a word that I'm looking for anyway, but what your blockages are. But the reality is that it happens. It happens to everybody. A minute number of people are, literally lifetime subscribers. Until they die. They die to stop paying. There's very few of those. So attrition is a real thing, and really is a case of managing it and minimizing it and maximizing on the longevity of the customers. So that complicated, yin and yang, multiple circle, how do we improve attrition kind of conversation is a kind of important kind of thing. But we're not having that today. But so all I'm saying is that attrition is a real thing. The beauty of a SaaS is its continuity, subscriptions. The ugliness of the SaaS is that people leave. On the other side of that, the yang, if that was the yin, it could be the other way around. I no favourites. Is viral growth. So if you're growing faster than you're declining, then you're growing. So if you can keep recruiting new members, then at a rate greater than you're losing members, then you're in the plus. Okay, and maybe your growth, will even be viral. Or maybe you'll do growth hacking to get a huge, not the way I inflected that was good, wasn't it? A huge influx of members. Okay, so that even if a lot of them do attrish, I don't even know if that's a word, but anyway, it sounds good. It sounds like a girl's name, doesn't it? Attrish. Anyway, it's like Trish, but attrish is kind of more funky, isn't it? Anyway, but even if a large number of them attrish, it doesn't matter because you've got way more than you expected to start with. But that's not a great way to run a business. It's not the mindset you should have by any means at all. But I'm just saying, the reality is that if you did have a massive influx, then you've got a bit more breathing space. But obviously what we want to do is we want to have this stupid conversation about attrition and how to improve it. Not stupid conversation, but a lengthy conversation. But we're not here to do that tonight. We're actually, taking the 1,000-foot view above that and working out, how to solve the problems of the universe in 3 sentences. So we're not worried about attrition, but it just happens. But this is an example of the yin and the yang. That was my point. I knew I had a point and I got onto that for a reason. So one of the things you might have worked out about your SaaS is that it has some systems. And one of those systems is a pipeline, or a pipeline. Hang on, sorry, really inopportune times to sneeze. Anyway, right. So a couple of your systems in your machine. You see, you've already got a machine you didn't know, but you have these systems. You recognise these systems when I'm telling you them now. You've got a pipeline. And by pipeline, we mean is that you tell a load of people about your stuff, and some of them start listening to you, and then you tell them some more stuff, and then some of them will become your customers, and then you'll tell them some more stuff, and then some more of them will become customers. So yeah, you basically convert people who aren't customers into customers in varying percentages. Okay, that's a pipeline, and, you know, and we can draw the typical funnel. Let me just grab it from here, because we're coming to that slide in a minute. Yeah, a typical funnel where a load of people come in at the top, and you filter them down until you get your customers. Okay, you know the funnel. I'm sure you recognise it. You know that's what's happening. You know, you get 10,000 views a month on your sign up page, and you get 50 or whatever it is, you know, people actually signing up to pay you money. So that's your funnel. And, you know, obviously you're concerned about getting more people into the funnel, and you're concerned with conversion, getting more people out of your funnel to become buyers. Okay, and again, that's another 2 conversations we need to have, you know, which are lengthy and complicated, and again, headache, all these circles, oh my god. But we're not here to talk about that either. We're going to solve the laws of the universe in 3 sentences, so we haven't got time for that. Anyway, you know what the funnel is. You didn't realise that you maybe had a funnel. You didn't realise that it was a system, but it is. Okay, that's one of your systems. Now, another thing that you have going on, which you may or may have not have realised, is that you actually have a funnel, a sales funnel, in that the people who come in to use you will come in at a certain level, and that could be free, for instance. And then at some point, you upgrade them from free to what should we call them? You know, to bronze. And then when they want more stuff, or they need more, you know, points or fuel or you know, energy or whatever it is you measure your SaaS in, they're going to upgrade from bronze to silver, and then when they become even more, whatever, they go from silver to gold, and then maybe they go from gold to platinum. So that's a funnel. And maybe if you're really good, you've got something in the background where if they're using this SaaS for that they also need another SaaS for something else, and maybe you upgrade them to one of your other companies, or you have an affiliate program or a partner program with somebody else who does that, and then you make affiliate commission or profit from the other things that you can sell them because they're related to the SaaS that you use. That's if you're really clever. But whatever you do, you have some sort of funnel. Sorry. So if you have any kind of feature set with a limit on it, and you have a way of upgrading those features, to more, either more of them or bigger versions of them, then you have a sales funnel basically, because you can upgrade how much people spend. You can increase how much people spend with you. That's really a definition of a funnel. So there are 2 systems that you have going on that you may or may not have appreciated that you have going. And again, in the sales funnel, there's a whole other set of deep conversations we could have about how to increase the value of your funnel. Okay, and again, this is all super important, but unfortunately all super lengthy conversations with loads of moving parts, and I'd have to know something about your business really to even make any comment on what it could happen. But again, we solve the problems of the universe in 3 sentences. Not to worry about streamlining your pipeline or streamlining your funnel, but bear in mind that you have a pipeline and you have a funnel, and they can both be streamlined radically. 1000% improvement could happen if we did the right thing. So to have a machine, this breathing machine, got the word breathing in there, oh heavens, hang on, there we go, the breathing machine, you will have a sales pipeline, and you will have a sales funnel. Okay, and the better that you get these working, the better your machine will be. Okay, and we need to have these because life isn't just stay still. There's attrition and there's competition, On the other side of that, there's the viral growth. So I thought a poetic thing of that was the viral growth is like the sun, and attrition, losing subscribers, is like the moon. So we've got the sun and the moon going on, and every day they happen, and we can't really do much about them other than do what we do, underneath them, which is to improve as best as we can these two, things. The sales pipeline and the funnel pipeline. The sales funnel and the I've said that wrong. The sales pipeline and the funnel. Anyway, I think I've got the words mixed up there somewhere, but it's going to go in both directions. That's the key. And and again, the reason why we can't stand still is because there's SWOT going on, which is always really hard. Easy to diagnose in hindsight, but we want to be able to diagnose it in with a looking glass, not in hindsight, which we could in our kind of organic terms, think of as acts of God, like hurricanes and typhoons and that sort of stuff, and flooding and anything like that. So we can't stand still. These things have to be in effect, and we want to improve them as best as we can, and they will help to reduce attrition, or ideally they will, or they'll create enough growth to cope with the attrition. Okay, but is that enough? Obviously I'm going to say no, because that's my job to say no, really. So as we mentioned, some people latch on to growth hacking, and growth hacking is their miracle grow cure to get a shed load of people in at once, and to grow exponentially. And obviously if you can grow exponentially, hopefully your attrition and everything and your SWOT is slower than that. So exponential growth from growth hacking, it seems very attractive, and it is very attractive. I'm not going to say anything against it. But that's really only, growth hacking really is only increasing your funnel. It's making your funnel a little bit, hopefully a lot, but basically a little bit bigger. Okay? It's not really, revolutionary as such. So I was going to try and be that's not going to work. Anyway, I was going to be semi-flash and try and show that, but I can't actually, because I'm not that great at graphics. Anyway, so that's your normal growth or something, and then with growth hacking maybe it gets bigger than that, but you see the things aren't in the same place there, so it didn't work. Anyway, what else can we do to grow our machine? We need these two things. We need the lead pipeline, and we need the sales funnel. Okay, I think I've got the right names now. There we are. So there we are. Sometimes I forget words. There we are. So we need these two things, and the better those two things are, the better. And we could do growth hacking, and that's great, and I recommend that. But what else can we do? What can we do to get our breathing machine, happening? Okay. So it's a good question, isn't it? What else is there? We can improve this, and we can improve this. If we improve both, something good will happen. So what else can we do? So the obvious answer is that we could just do more. I'll even write that in. Okay, it's very obvious. You just scale the thing up to do more. Okay, and there's a good figure, 10x. And we've spoken a lot about 10x scaling it before, and the ways to do that in other shows, which you can get from the vault. Click.com/Buick Show. Put in the coupon Buick Show to get a discount. So let me just write that in, because that's really why I'm here. Click.com/Buick Show. Put in the coupon Buick Show, and that way you'll get all the back issues. Why can't I type all of a sudden? Right, there we go. All of the future issues, some exclusive content which you request as a member, and also access to something that isn't available anywhere else, which is the no-fail marketing framework. Okay, so it's quite an amazing deal, I think. So you can get all that from, as I say, click.com/Buick Show. Put in the coupon Buick Show. Save a load of money, and you get all of that. Okay, that's the advert done, because it's important. It's important for you. It's important for me. Of course, I've lost the bullets. There we go. That wasn't the one I wanted to be a bullet. It was these. Wow, I'm making technology look hard today. Okay, there we go. So let's just duplicate that again. So what else could we do? What, you know, as we said, we can just do more, and you know, and we can 10x it. And you know, and as I say, we talked about that before in the episodes in the vault, and you can go do that. And obviously, if you 10x scale it, you 10x grown it. But there's more. I'm suggesting that there's even more. And it really comes from this phrase here, which looked very innocent, didn't it, for a long time, and now it's not so innocent. Which is intentful growth. Because this is growth. Okay, this is out and out, let's do one thing, get growth. Okay, which is great. No problem with that. But intentful growth, if I could say it, is something else. So what else is it? Whatever it is, it makes you cough, apparently. No, it doesn't. Maybe it does. I don't know. So what do we mean by intentful growth? So this is probably conceptual. Let's do it for circles. I was going to make a list, but let's do it for circles. So one of these. Right, intentful growth. So what on earth, is that? So it's really comes from the three-prong growth structure or algorithm or whatever it's called, which is basically sell more. Okay. So nothing's really new in life, so you probably already know this. But the point is that you're not doing it, and the doing it is the important part of the yin and the yang. More value. There we are, and that could come from two ways. So you can increase prices. You can increase units, so you can do bundles and seats and all that sort of stuff, and also you can actually that's probably the next one. So there are the two things you do there. Make that smaller so we can vaguely make it fit. There we are. So you can sell more of them, charge more for them. Actually there's 4 circles. Sure that didn't used to be 4. Anyway, there's 4 now. So we can sell more units, sell more value, or we can reduce costs. Okay, so they're the classic ways of doing it, and reducing. One of the the best ways of reducing costs is to not minimise. Reduce again. Reduce the size, or the features, or the points, or whatever, the power up, that sort of stuff. So you sell basically the same, you sell something slightly smaller for the same money. So that's the opposite of putting the price up, and you could even do it when you bring the price down to to kind of hide the issue, not hide the issue, but it is basically hiding the issue, and make more money because they're paying less but getting less. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? But anyway, that's this is the reality of the economics of business. So they're the 3 classic things for business growth. So I don't mean growth hacking. I mean for business growth, generally. And obviously more units. This is why it was going to be 4, but it is actually 3. Is one of those things could be growth hacking because it's about more reach, okay, and vertical markets and all that kind of stuff. Okay, any way that you can sell more stuff. So partners needs to be in there because that's the number 1 way of getting fast growth. Number 1 way, partners, which we've talked about in another show in the Buick Vault. So hang on, let's just do, oh dear, come on, there we go. What am I doing? What am I doing? Wow. Okay, there we go. So more units is really a subset of of these activities. There we are. Okay. Actually, that should have said hacking, shouldn't it? I don't know. So sell more of them. Sell more or increase the more value, and that also could include lifetime value. Which means how do we describe that? Not just upsells and cross sells, but actually increasing the lifetime value through repeat custom and that sort of thing. And also, as we mentioned a minute ago, related sales. Okay, either of your own or of somebody else's, but to do with your main thing. So again, this is intentful growth, and they're the traditional approaches. The 3 circles are the traditional approaches of that one. That's really a subset of this kitty over here. But again, I'm suggesting that there's more. Blimey. Okay, let's duplicate that one. So what could we possibly do to get intentful growth beyond this? Okay, what could we possibly do here? And it's related to more units for sure, and it's related to more value per sale, not really related to reducing costs. So what is it? And basically it's going to go back to last week's show, which, as I said, was the fundamental glue for all of this. But it's a subset of that. And basically, what it is how do we describe this now? Hang on, let me just have a quick drink while I think how to describe it. Yeah. So, to some of you, it's going to seem like branding, but it's not branding. I mean, branding's good, and branding could well be a part of it, and branding would be the traditional way, again, that people would approach it. But it's not branding, because it's different. Because branding implies, really that you're the best at it. Or that you're a, particular quality of it. Okay, but what is it? Okay, so the other way of doing it is, redefining the it. Okay, because and that's not just about brand. That's actually about inventing or defining. Again, not really a blue ocean, but in redefining, the core of the thing. And the core of the thing always has to be the customer success, not your success, but the customer's success. Because if the customer's having success, you're having success. And the key thing with a SaaS is if they're having success because of your SaaS, then your SaaS is really important to them, and the attrition will be less, and they're more likely to be raving about you. Not to their direct competitors, obviously, but to anyone that they care about, because that's what they're doing. Or if they just mention somebody else, how you doing so well at this, they go, I use this SaaS. So even if it's a casual recommendation, it is what's working for them, so they will be inclined to talk about it. So how do we redefine the it? Let's duplicate that one, because it's all very well for me to say redefine the it, and you nod your head and going, yeah, that's a great idea if you're actually honest with me. But what does it actually mean? In fact, I'm just going to put it up there, I think. Okay, and it comes back to really what we said last week, which is it's certainly not talking about your SaaS. Okay, because that's geeky, and that only relates to your SaaS, and it the only person that really helps is you, really, because it's not about your SaaS, because that would mean that your SaaS was, if I didn't put that very on, that your SaaS was solving, was a solution. It was solving problems, okay, and the money isn't in the solution, it's in the opportunity. Okay, and the opportunity is really the results, the success of your customers. Okay, and that's really the key, to this. And if we can redefine, the way that we would redefine the it is to do what I just said, which is to, talk about and own. That's a very important word. We'll come to that in a minute. Own, of course, I typed one, which I didn't mean to. Own the opportunity. I should put that before there. And I'm even going to put it in red because it's that important. So that's a lot to take in, and it's hard to put into words, but that's essentially it. And you can see we've gone a long way from all these things, and all these things are super important. I'm not saying that we can ignore all these things, and I'm not saying that each one of these things is really complicated and deserves a huge amount of time spent on them. But what I'm saying is that even if you did all of this fantastically, it wouldn't really be as significant as this is if we could redefine the it. Okay? Now, you probably, if you've been following along with me, you probably won't be surprised that redefining the it is not actually about the technology. So it's not actually about how good your SaaS is, and obviously it's really helpful if your SaaS is really good, and maybe it has to be amazing for you to even be in the market. But this is redefining the it is not about your SaaS. It just isn't. It's about the way that we frame the SaaS. Okay, and as I say, if you've been following along with me, you know that I'm super into framing. Okay, because the framing is basically storytelling, and it's the story that you tell, and that's what actually communicates and resonates and inspires and all those sort of things your customers, and all of those things are super important. And again, they have to be there, and the more the more of them, the more that's what I'm looking for, the better they are. Again, the less attrition you're going to have, and the more viral growth you're going to have, because people are just going to say this is amazing. But you see, when they say this is amazing, they don't mean wow, when I push a button this and this happens, and that's really clever behind the scenes, and then all this stuff comes out the other end. That's not really what people talk about. They don't say, wow, I clicked a button today and some great stuff happened. Maybe some people do, but I've not met them. Really what they do is that they talk about the story, and in particular their story. And what is their story? Well, I've just told you a minute ago, it's their success. So when your story, or the story you're telling, is about their success, and you're framing the whole thing and redefining the it, then you are owning the space, really. Okay, owning or redefining or increasing or market share, however you want to put it. But basically, you're owning the space, because you're not just defining something about it. You are defining the it, and the it is the customer success. Okay, and we do that from framing. It doesn't matter how many server upgrades you do, or how many lines of code you reduce it by, or how clever your algorithm is. At the end of the day, nobody really, apart from you, cares about that. What they care about is their success. It's the ultimate, Wi-Fi FM. But when we talk about it in those terms, not really. I mean, branding's involved. You see, this isn't just branding. This isn't, our company colour is red and we stand for this. It's not even really it's partly your why, because that's still important, but it's not just because you have a why. Okay? Because, if we look at, what Apple did, and they're always credited with, having the best why, and why people are so, allegiant to them, and that's probably true. Maybe they are allegiant to Apple's why. And certainly Apple's framing is excellent. The way that they tell it, all their designs are beautiful. They really niche down. They say that we're the computer for creatives and whatever. All of that's true. That's all going on. I'm not saying that that's not important, but none of that is really. That's more branding than the it. Now, if you look what Apple did to the it with, say, iTunes, it wasn't just that, hey, we've got a big SaaS database, that can spew out music for 99 cents a go, and it, it's instantly on your, pocket-sized, nano player thing. That's not really what they did. They actually did redefine the it. Now, they weren't the first people to do this, but they were the first people to make it popular and accessible and cool. So, I don't know if that's branding or just marketing or what, but they certainly did those things, but they did redefine the it. And the it that they redefined was, basically, however you want to sum it up, this isn't their slogan, it's something like, your ultimate, infinite music collection, wherever you are, in something the size of a button. Okay, I mean, that's not, it's not, that's not copy or anything, even remotely like anything, really. But I'm just trying to explain what there it was, and that was really the it. Now, it didn't really. I mean, it's nice, it's great. That Apple did it, and they have a why, and that they told it so well, and that they tuned in to their audience, very precisely, and everything about what they did was great. Okay, absolutely cannot, fault the whole process. Okay, but let's not forget the fact that they actually redefined the it. They owned the space by not being the first to do it, by being the first to make it popular and accessible and cool, and to actually say, in their storytelling and their framing, here is your ultimate infinite music collection, wherever you are. Okay, or whatever version of those words you want to use. But that was the thing. So. But that's actually what happened. Now, as I say, what's interesting here is that they didn't own, they weren't the first to market with this, and their technology wasn't even particularly, I don't think it was groundbreaking. I'm not aware of any particular huge advantage that they had. But however they did it, they were the first to make their database in the cloud popular. Because they connected it with, the button-sized music player, and they didn't invent streaming, and they didn't invent storage, and they didn't invent the MP3 format, and they certainly didn't invent, a music database or music charts, and they probably weren't even the first to price at 99p a track. But somehow they still managed to kind of own that space. And it wasn't just because they said, we're Apple, and it wasn't because, they have the Y, and they, excuse me, they certainly do niche down into their audience, and they certainly tell a great story. They frame their stuff really well. It's all designed beautifully and everything. But, basically the combination of any of that is not really anything. They're still, at the end of the day, a brand. They still use a technology. They didn't really invent anything fantastically unique about that technology. Certainly nothing that people couldn't copy, within months. But they've tried, but and maybe they're succeeding a bit, but they haven't really managed to topple Apple's dominance in that space, because Apple still own the it. They define the it. So whatever anyone else is doing, they're always going to compare it to Apple and to iTunes. So all of these things contributed to the whole picture. But really, the underpinning thing was not the brand, it was not the technology, and they were not the first to market. It wasn't the price point. It wasn't the fact that they're obviously excellent at marketing, but it wasn't that they marketed it in some unheard of way. Everyone had the opportunity, or the same opportunity, to come up with an equally good marketing campaign. And as I say, it wasn't just because they were Apple, it wasn't just because of their brand. Now, all of those things that I've just said probably contributed to it, but they're not the thing that glues it together, that really made it happen. And it wasn't just that they created a blue ocean USP phrase. Again, it's in this mix of stuff that happened. Again, this whole yin and yang of things that we need to be great at. But really what happened was that they defined the it. Okay, they defined the it. Or they redefined the it, depending on how much you want to put it. I think I put that wrong. They basically made this the it. And that's basically the lifestyle. What can we say? What's the word I'm looking for? I'll just click lifestyle framing because I can't think what the word is. So that was the lifestyle framing that they created. Which as I say, basically redefined the it. I had one little more thing to say about that. No, I've forgotten it. Anyway, so as I say, all of those other things were involved in that process, but really, that really was it. Oh, yeah, I was going to say. So this is the customer success. Now, because this was, B2C, it wasn't about a company making more money. But for the consumers, it was about them having, ultimate access to their music collection wherever they were, instantly. So that was a success in customer terms. Okay, so it's still a customer success. So, again, it wasn't because, it was great for Apple because, they had a big database of stuff and their, technology was super clever, or that they'd invented some incredible, nifty database algorithm or whatever. Maybe they did, but, nobody really cared about that. What they cared about was that suddenly, last week, it was about having, loads of CDs, or having a super huge, MP3 player with massive amount of storage. But even, no matter how much storage you had, it would never contain your whole music collection. But now, suddenly, thanks to their streaming and their databasing, you have instant access, because it's streaming from the cloud, into your little thing. And that's really what iTunes is about. And also, it's equally about the databasing of that, because it's not just about, here's every song you've ever wanted. They also classify that into the user database for your favorites and your moods and your artists and the collections and your playlists and all the other ways, and it might be, I don't even know who it is, but which of those your friends like, or which ones you've shared, or which of your playlists has the most listens, or anything like that. These are all features that could also come into this collection. But so it's not just about the collection, it's about what the collection meant to the personal listener. Okay, so they actually got that bit right as well. So again, that was another bit of the redefining that they did. Okay, that was another thing. And I don't think that's just a Blue Ocean USP, thing, because that has to be communicated on so many levels, and in the user experience and in the follow up and in the onboarding and everything, and that the whole thing, leads to almost zero attrition, because people don't want to give up their music collection, and there still isn't really anybody better for it. So I mean, obviously Spotify are starting to make a dent in it, and again they're probably redefining the it again, on some other level. I'm not sure totally what that is, but it's probably on just mass and price point, I think. I don't think that their player is cooler, and I don't think they have integration with hardware better than Apple and iTunes have, as they make both ends. So I'm not sure what Spotify are doing, but in terms of what iTunes did, they redefined the it. And again, even now I'm comparing what Spotify are doing with iTunes. So iTunes own it. So if iTunes get their act together and and beat Spotify at however that they're redefining the it, then they would win again, or they could win again. So again, Spotify is now Apple's swap. So nobody can afford to stay still forever. As I say, this is a it's a breathing machine, and we have to feed it, and we have to make it grow at all times, and we have to nurture it and all that kind of stuff. And obviously we want to try and predict the SWOT rather than react to the SWOT after it's happened. Okay, so that's it. But I mean, from everything that I've said, okay, I'm not saying that anything is not important. Okay, this whole thing of 10 things is super important. If you to have a super successful SaaS, you probably have to have all of these things in place, and they're all deep topics. And and whether you knew it or not, you already have these two systems or parts of a machine in your business already. Your lead pipeline and your sales funnel. Okay, and again, if you improve these, you'll get massive improvements. And again, they're deep conversations, that we could spend days literally talking on. But the thing that's gonna, catapult, that's not really a big enough word, but what's bigger than a catapult? Nuke, in a good way, if that's possible. The whole thing that underpins your SaaS, okay, is not just simply branding. It's not just simply your why. I mean, again, this is all important, but it's not it. the it comes from, cheesily, ironically, redefining the it. And that's really what happens when you own the market. It's not just a blue ocean USP. It's not ever, I don't think, about the tech particularly, because the tech is just an ends to the means. So the means is the important thing, and this is the means. Okay, and however you choose to tell that story, however you choose to frame it, it's always going to really be about this one parameter, which is the customer success. Okay, not your success, not how clever your algorithm is, nothing like that. It's always going to be about the customer success, and that's really what redefines the it. Okay, but that's really the power play here. To not just take market share, but to own the market. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Now, you might be thinking that that's more than you can do, more than you can handle, more than you want, and maybe that's all true. But the one thing that I want you to take away from this is that any nearer you are to, I haven't got room to put it there, but anyway, redefining the it makes you stronger. Okay, you may not own the market, but it makes you massively stronger. And and that's the takeaway. So whatever you can do to even get even a percentile closer to this will make you so much stronger that it's worth it. It's not necessarily about owning the entire market, but and it's not just about increasing your market share. Okay, it's about owning a bit of the market. But owning a bit of the market, not just market share or anything like that. So anything you can do to get there, I think is totally worth it. Okay, so that's it. So that's probably a bit overwhelming, a bit kind of in the clouds as to what you actually do to do this. But it's largely about changing the story that you tell and putting it in terms of customer success. Okay, that's if we had to sum up this whole thing in one word, that would be it. I suppose I should write that down then. What did I just say? I forgot what I just said. I have to play it back, I think. Reframing the way reframing the story you tell to customer success. I think that's exactly what I said, but it means the same thing, I think. So so if we had to reframe it, sum up the whole show in one story, in one line, that would be it probably. Reframing the story you tell to talk about, there we are, to talk about customer success. That's basically it. Yeah, that's a kind of a summary of it, I think. Yeah, and the beautiful thing about that is you don't need to have superior technology. You're not having to go and recode everything to be super fantastic. It's literally, just about the way that you market. Obviously, you can outsource that. You can get specialists in that understand, what I mean by, a lot of what I've said. If you don't, but it's all, available to you, and that's simply what it is. Okay. The problem is that the temptation is to talk about our own thing, and how proud we are of our thing, and our technology, and to be geeky about it, and to take pride in the algorithm, and all the stuff going on behind the scenes. But in terms of customers, all they really care about is what comes out the other end, and not even that, but how that affects their success. Okay, and when you control and you talk about, and the story you tell is about that customer success, then that means that the market has to listen to you, and that they'll come to you for that solution. And no matter what anyone else does, largely, until they become better at telling that story than you, you will own the market. Okay, not just taking market share, you will own the market. So it's not necessarily about owning the whole market, but whatever market share you have, if you own it rather than have just taken it, then you're obviously in a great position. Now that can all be systemized, but even if it isn't, it's all what makes the breathing machine. Okay, so that's why we need to do it. That's it. Anyway, if you've got questions or whatever, you need follow up, anything like that, post comments below the live stream, and I'll answer you there, and do another show or whatever if I need to. But let me know what you don't understand, what you do understand, what you like, what you don't like. What you need, help with to make it, a reality. Just pop the comments below the live stream. So that's it. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday for the next edition of the Buick Show. Don't forget, if you want all the back issues because you've missed all the important stuff, then where did I put that? Then click.com, Buick Show. Put in the coupon Buick Show, save a load of money, and there we are. A teeny bit bigger, just to be Sally. There we are. Okay, click.com Buick Show. That's it. I'll see you Monday or next Friday for the next edition of SaaS Friday. Yes. Talk to you then. Bye for now. Bye bye. Bye bye.